Welcome to Theory of Pets. I'm a passionate pet owner with a drive to help others like me uncover the truth about the pet industry and what goes on behind the scenes. Welcome back to Theory of Pets. March was Pet Poison Prevention Awareness Month, and the week of March 14th to the 21st was Poison Prevention Week. That is when I spoke with Kari Warberg Block from EarthKind. EarthKind is a company that focuses on making some unique plant-based poison-free products to keep pests away. So it's an alternative to home pest prevention that is chemical free, it's poison free. A lot of people don't realize that rodenticides and insecticides are among the top 10 household toxins that poison pets, especially dogs, every year. Insecticides and rodenticides can be just as toxic to our pets as they are to the pests that we're trying to kill. Common active ingredients in these products include long-lasting anticoagulants, which can prevent an animal's blood from clotting, Cholecalciferol, which can lead to kidney failure in animals, and Bromethalin, which is a neurotoxin that can result in tremors, seizures, and paralysis. So it's really dangerous. It's a life-threatening thing if your dog or cat or any other pet were to get into these pest control products that you're using that are, typically found. One of the ones that comes to mind for me is rat and mice poison from companies like Decon. Those are poisonous and they are harmful to humans and our pets alike. Pets also sometimes will kill certain pests. Mice are a great example. So if a mouse were to eat the poison and then your cat or your dog catches the mouse, they can risk being secondhand poisoned by the rodent or the insect too. I know I've seen my dogs catch and eat different bugs that they've found, from spiders to, flies. So it's definitely something that's a possibility. March, again, was Pet Poison Prevention Awareness Month. So EarthKind's really tried to get out and spread information about their products and what they offer and why they're different, why they work, what type of ingredients are used in their products. So again, I was able to talk to Kari to learn a little bit more about the dangers to our pets with the traditional products that most of us use, and some different ways that we can keep our pets safe from those products, as well as some of the other options that are out there on the market. Kari, thank you so much for being here. I definitely appreciate your time today. Can you start out by just telling us a little bit about yourself and your background and how you got involved in the pet industry so our listeners can get to know you?
So living on a farm, I was constantly exposed to the harsh chemical and kill methods of the pest control industry. Being both a mother and a dog lover, bringing those hazardous poisons into my home or around places where we were, it wasn't an option. I was worried about my kids and my pets and the wildlife. I had a dog that was poisoned and came within hours of his life. I saw that same thing happen to friends' dogs, and I never wanted that to happen again. So I knew there had to be a safer, yet a powerfully effective way to control pests. And I just set out to create a better way. I actually had to invent something. And I believe that nature has the answer for basically everything. And I don't think necessarily the answer is bringing harmful chemicals into our home when we have a pest problem.
I agree with that, and that's definitely one of the things that, drew me to wanting to speak with you today and share some of this information with our audience. I think it's something that a lot of pet owners don't really put a lot of thought into. We think about the products that we're using specifically with our pets, like pet shampoos, grooming products, but we don't give a lot of thought into the chemicals that we bring in that we're using around our home, things like pesticides, insecticides, cleaning products, things like that. So I definitely think that this is an important topic that pet parents need to be more educated about.
I totally agree. I was basically dumbfounded when I got interested in this topic, because I had this problem myself, and I thought there's got to be there's got to be a better way. And I did research, and I found out that 98% of everything sold to control a pest was toxic or harmful to pets and to children. And then I learned from ASPCA, who works with prevention of poisons, kids, dogs getting accidentally poisoned, and other bad things happening to pets. There's over 6,000 dogs were accidentally poisoned per year from rodenticides. And that's when I knew I was onto something, by inventing a rodent repellent that would repel the rodents without causing harm to pets. And it's interesting because several years later, I brought this invention to market in 2007, and in 2011, the EPA moved to remove the 8 most toxic baits and bars from the market. And that was possible because of a product being invented and on the market that was affordable and available everywhere. By that time, we had it in about 20,000 stores across the country, but people still didn't know about it, and that's always a challenge, and work for entrepreneurs who invent products to get the word out. So I appreciate you sharing our story, because even though the product is out there and the most toxic baits and bars for rodent control have been banned, there still is thousands and thousands of dogs being accidentally poisoned. And when it happens just by exposure, say the dogs are out and they find something dead and they chew on it. Well, it might have been a bird that ate a dead rodent, and then the accident happens that way. The common ingredients in rodenticides have their long-acting anticoagulants, and they prevent animals' blood from clotting. And then there's a neurotoxin, and it can result in brain swelling, tremors, seizures, paralysis, and kidney failure. So it's nothing to mess with. And with pets, especially cats, being great at catching mice, they risk having secondhand accidents caused by the rodents as well, or insects that have been around areas that have been treated. And pets will use their little noses to poke around and explore, and because their noses are moist and they have mucous membranes, it's a real easy place for them to the pesticides to be absorbed, inhaled, ingested. Another concern would be if your dog consumes contaminated plant material in and around your home as well. So that's something to be careful of. Keep your pets inside. If there's been a pest control operator, professional in the yard spraying things, they'll put up a little sign, but it's not like a pet will read that. So we have to watch them in that case too.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important point. Many people don't realize that rodenticides and insecticides that they use around their home, obviously we all know that the products themselves are going to be full of chemicals and cause problems for pets that might ingest them. But even when you hide them in areas, I know people that will say, oh, well, the mice chewed a hole in the wall and we stuck some decon or something, in the hole so our dog can't get to it. But even when you hide it so your dog or your cat doesn't have access to it, they're still posing a threat.
Yeah, it's dangerous because even when the rodent will ingest it and say they die, then the pet can grab it. And there's fumes, and it can sit in there. It's just dangerous. But on the same respect, you don't want rodents in your home either, because rodents themselves can cause diseases to yourself and your pet. So pest control should be taken seriously, and people should do their research. That was one of the things we found out early on is we definitely want to help people prevent pests from coming in the first place. So there's so many things a person can do. And on our website, EarthKind.com, we have a fantastic resource center, a library actually, with hundreds and hundreds of articles that we've written over the past 13 years that talk through simple things that a person can do to really protect and prevent things in their house. For instance, storing human food and pet food in airtight sealed containers is huge. Dog food is the number one attractant to a rodent. And so a rodent can just think of it having 3,000 times the more powerful smell than we do. So they can smell that dog food from, a long ways away. Filling in tiny openings too, around the corners of your home, and any kind of vents, like air vents and dryer vents, are the most common places that rodents will get in, and pests as well. So making sure that those have grates on them, they're properly caulked. Using steel wool, silicone caulking is better than the foam caulking. Any spaces really the size of a dime or larger should be filled, because rodents can dip through those. Even squirrels can get into a home, and you definitely don't want them eating your food and contaminating that, right? Or biting your dog.
For sure.
That happens as well. Pets can get bit, and that can cause its own set of problems.
Yeah, absolutely. Pest control is something that we need to take very seriously. And if people are doing that by using products that are made with those traditional chemicals, what are some of the symptoms that owners should be aware of rodenticide or insecticide poisoning?
So what you want to do is look for signs of lethargy, vomiting, excessive salivation, incoordination, diarrhea, tremors, loss of appetite, pinpoint pupils, or seizures. And what's going to happen then, you can reach out, you can call your vet. The first thing they'll do is ask you for the label of the product that you think might have, the pet might have ingested. They will request is what's called an MSDS sheet, which is a material safety data sheet. And you can find those on websites. We keep them in ours under the Resource Center. Even though our products are made with plant-based oils, it's still something required by law that companies have the ingredients and all of the safety data available, especially with pest control, because right now 90% of everything sold is still toxic and poison. So we've made a lot of progress in all the years we've been out. It's down 8%, but that's still a majority of what we bring into our homes still has caution. So like the Mr. Yuck stickers that I used to put on things when my kids were little, it's really good to be careful, to make sure that you properly label those and keep those up high where pets can't get into it. And it's interesting because on holidays, that's usually when our emergency lines will ring, because people will call. And it's just overwhelmingly over all the years, it happens on a holiday, because pets very commonly will get into stuff they're not supposed to when there's company, and they feel like they're not being included and they're being neglected. So they will oftentimes seek out things for attention. So it's better to make sure you know what you bring in your home and to keep it out of harm's way. I invented a product that it's called a pouch pod, and we put our little pouches, our sachets of plant-based materials that are actually, they're like a non-toxic pesticide, right? We call them Stay Away. It's called EarthKind Stay Away spiders, Stay Away moths, Stay Away rodents, Stay Away ants. And we found that pets are really curious, and they'll come up and they'll sniff them and they'll want to look at them, and there's nothing dangerous or harmful in the ingredients, but still they're curious, like kids are. So we invented a little pouch pod holder made with flax grown in North Dakota, and it can put the pouches inside so nobody can see it, nobody can get to it, and it sits there and does its job. So then you have a spider repellent pouch in your guest room. Aunt Mabel isn't going to come running out, oh, you have spiders in the pouch.
So can you share some tips for preventing rodenticide or insecticide poisoning, and some tips for preventing pest infestation without using dangerous products?
Sure, absolutely. I'd be happy to do that. One of the simplest things you can do is to get rid of clutter. Pests seem to love clutter, like boxes, newspapers stored. Oftentimes that's a fantastic harborage for all kinds of pests. In particular, corrugated boxes. So when you bring something new home, instead of like storing your new shoes in the shoebox and put it in your closet, you might want to ditch that shoebox, because oftentimes that's where pests will lay eggs inside the little corrugate inside, and when it gets moist, they can hatch. Vacuuming up the spider webs, look near the windows, closets, attics, crawl spaces. Cleaning up areas with traces of pet food that may be present, which will eliminate attractants that can lure the pantry moths, ants, and mice into the space. Fix any leaks. A leaky faucet or water seeping indoors is going to encourage critters like spiders, ants, and cockroaches to come in and stay a while. For instance, ants, when they get into the house, normally what happens is the ant colonies outside will get flooded because of heavy rain. So the ants will come in until it dries out, and then they'll head back out. But how the ecosystem works, if you treat the ant and you kill it, what happens is then you send the poison back to the colony and they all die. You pretty much just lost your perimeter control for bugs and termites. So there's always a cause and effect of everything. So it's really good to do these preventive things. And it's going to take care of 90% of the problems naturally without having to drive yourself crazy. For lawn care, planting bushes away from the house, keep the grass trimmed, pick up leaves and clip shrubs to reduce the yard's pest and tick population. Covering the laundry vents, the attic vents, those are all common. Weather stripping around doors, that's another thing to keep up to date and tidy. And lastly, I have to recommend EarthKind Stay Away line of pest repellents too, to rid your home of pests.
Yeah, of course.
They not only smell fantastic, they're made with essential oils. They quickly get rid of pests if you have them, send them back outside, and they'll prevent them from re-entering for 60, even up to 90 days in some cases.
Fantastic. So now that we're talking about the EarthKind products, tell us about their unique, these are poison-free products. How do you create them? How do you, test to make sure that they are effective as well as harmless?
Yeah, I'd be happy to share that. So I am one of those people that I don't like pests. I don't want to see them. I don't want to touch them. I don't want to have to deal with them. I don't want to kill them. don't want them in my space. I grew up the daughter of an entomologist, so I had pests around all the time, and so they literally freaked me out. So when it came to having the problem myself, it was like I didn't want to have to kill them, and I certainly didn't want to use a poison. I thought, how do I keep them out of my space to start with? So we basically innovated and pioneered natural pest prevention for families and households. So what we make is a line of high-performance plant-based pest repellent pouches that provide kind, effective, and safer ways to get rid of insects, pests, mice, while making your house smell fantastic. So each pest is a little bit different. I discovered with mice, for instance, by walking around and being a nature girl, that the balsam fir trees in the forest that still had the bark were alive and healthy. Those with the bark missing would die. And so I saw the rodents eating the bark. I'm like, oh, I bet the trees make pesticides. So that was a discovery that I made and got it patented and got it EPA registered. And so the trees, folks, are keeping the mice out of your home. Nature making its own pesticides. And then I made the discovery. So with each pest, it's just a little bit different based on how they're made and what the environment is. So we do the easy work, or do the hard work to make it very easy, that all you have to do is open the package and set the pouch down and the pests leave. It's that simple.
That's just the way we like it as consumers, right?
That's what I needed. That's what I wanted as a consumer.
Yes, absolutely. We love it when, there's a company that does the hard work for us. You briefly mentioned it, but just so our listeners know, your website, it's earthkind.com. There's a link below the podcast that'll take them right there. And there is great information on there. First of all, about the different products. So for example, if you're having trouble with rodents, you can look at the EarthKind Stay Away Rodent, see what the ingredients are and why it's so effective. But also the blog is just filled with great information on all sorts of different things that you might be interested in keeping up on. You have some tidying up checklists on there for pest prevention, tips for like mouse proofing your garage and getting rid of moths and that kind of stuff. So there's just tons of really great information if anybody wants to check that out. I know the pest that you have typically depends on the region that you live in. Some people struggle more with mice, some people struggle more with spiders, but it's all on there. So that's a great resource for anyone interested.
Thank you. I'm happy. And I have to say too, our customer service team is the bomb. They love getting on the phone with people. So probably half of what we do is education and helping people. So if there's a pest problem that our products don't solve, we commonly every day we take it as our challenge to help people, whether it's referring them to another company, getting one of our two PhD entomologists on the phone to help. We can really help because oftentimes a problem might be tied to another problem. For instance, if you're seeing one pest, there might be something else going on that needs to be looked into. So we like to help people through that.
That's awesome. That's for me a big thing as a consumer. That's a way that I can tell if a company is just out there to make a buck or if they really care about the products that they're selling and the consumers that are buying them, making sure that there are people there to answer questions. Like you said, even if you can't help them, finding a way to help them, that shows how much the company cares about the consumers. So kudos to you for that. That's awesome.
Thank you. Part of our interview process too is people have to talk about their pets and show their pictures of their pets, because we've found that is just such it tells you who the person is. And if they love their pets and they want to share that when we get people on the phone too, they totally understand that love.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah.
Very cool.
We love them so much.
Yeah, I'm sure it probably helps the potential employees as well in the interview process. I mean, who doesn't love to talk about their pets? We all love sharing our pets and sharing photos of them and talking about how much we love them.
We do, and we have campaigns too where we'll raise money for pet shelters, or we do what's called Play for Pets campaign. You can poke through our social media. It's been a while since we've done one, but it's interesting. And then my dog will go and we pick out toys for the dogs that play. And then he'll personally pick them out. We send them out, mail them.
Oh, very cool.
It's a lot of fun. And then, of course, they get a free something of pest control.
That's awesome. What a great thing to do for your followers. That's a lot of fun.
It sure is.
I have to give another huge thank you to Kari for being on and sharing such wonderful information, and definitely something that every pet owner should be aware of, and we should all educate ourselves about. And if you want some more information, if you click the links below this podcast, it will take you to the EarthKind website. There's tons of great resources on there, as I mentioned. There's also a link to the ASPCA animal poison control. And if anybody needs them at any time, this is a phone number that you should keep on your refrigerator, in your pet first aid kit, anywhere that you may look or need to look in an emergency. Their number is 1-888-426-4435. Again, there's a link to that just below this, so you can print it out, or you can just write it down, stick it on the refrigerator, stick it in your pet first aid kit. Make sure that you have that just in case. I hope none of you ever need it, but it's always better to have it just in case of an emergency. So thanks again to Kari and everyone at EarthKind. If you guys have any questions for me or that I could pass along to Kari, feel free to jump on our website, theoryofpets.com. You can leave any questions there. And if you have any ideas, questions, comments, anything that you would like me to research and do a podcast on in the future, any topic suggestions, you can leave all of that on our website, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Again, thank you so much for listening. I hope you guys are well, stay healthy, take care of yourselves during these trying times, and I will be back with another podcast episode very soon.